Hello, everybody, and welcome to Replay of the Week. Thank you all for submitting your videos. Happy Father's Day as well. It is Sunday the 16th, so I hope you guys are all having a good Father's Day. Uh, Today, we are going to watch three different replays from Ash, Zray, and myself. Three pretty different replays, and just overall pretty solid games. Some clutches, some throws, but overall some pretty cool replays this week. I've got Mr. Hockey Goalie here with me today as well. He's
Yep.
just gonna help analyze and give a second opinion as to the decision making that kind of happens in these games, and what us as a duo would think in terms of what would be the most optimal to make out of your situations, as there's not always just one correct answer. But we're gonna start off today with Ash in the E5 on Ruinberg. He's running HP, Experimental Turbo, and Rammer. Uh, Me personally, I'm a fan of the experimental turbo on a lot of the tanks, especially when you're not running a VSAT because it gives you that gun handling buff. Um, but I know experimental equipment is kind of hard to get though, so I would like to see Ash playing with the experimental HP as well. In my opinion, I think it's a lot better, especially on a tank like the E5, which I think has ammo rack problems if I'm correct. Um, but it is kind of expensive, so not everybody has a lot of components and parts. But yeah, this is definitely the correct equipment loadout. He's got a lot of gold, he's running food, so pretty standard stuff. Not cheaping out, so. And I believe for Ash, this is, spoiler alert, his third mark game here. I know he's been trying to mark the E5 for a while, so let's see how he does. So Hockey, on Ruinberg, where do you like to initial out in your heavy tanks? What kind of positions are you looking to take in the early game here?
I'm looking to set up around F1. Got a really nice elevated area you can play. A lot of the times enemy tanks will go to like G2 and try to play against you, but your position is just much better. Uh, like a
Sorry, I
lot
just
better.
apologize for the technical turret spinning. But yeah, no, definitely playing somewhere around one of these two corners. Either of the ones at the start, when you can get there and poke before all the high alpha TDs are hiding behind the bushes in like G2, H2, J2. It's definitely nice to play here at the start prior to, all the Yags and 4Ks and RDs bringing you, which can be a little bit, painful as those that may have played this position before. Eventually, if you do stay here for a long time, either RD or a YAG or a 4K will ruin your day. But yeah, as Hockey said here, Ash has come to the corner, really nice snap there, and he's getting those early shots on people making mistakes like this 4.52Ks and just a terrible position. I mean, he does kind of shit on Ash here, I'm not gonna lie, but overall, like over the long run, like that guy's gonna die and have like no damage. It's just terrible. There goes the RD that we all love in World of Tanks. Very, very awesome. Love getting stunned, especially by a tank that stuns you for, 17 seconds with like a 26-second reload. Speak of the devil again, there's the other RD shooting him. Enjoyable. But I really like the rotation Ash is gonna make here. He's had I don't know if he chose to make a decision based off where the enemies were playing or the fact that he was getting nuked by the RD, but regardless, both are kind of good things to realize that are happening and kind of adjust your position here. Especially with these two people really overcommitting here. Like this is just free damage with these people committing past kind of the choke point along the F line. And it's pubs. I don't know if we should be encouraging this Hockey, but I'm saying this is some great job baiting his teammates. Like holy moly, his teammates are taking all the hits.
They gotta take the shot.
Yeah, exactly.
That's their job.
Yeah, like, you gotta think about it like this: if you're the best player in your game, right? Who do you want to die? Like you want all those like random puppies or your teammates to just just explode, so then you've got the HP and the damage, and you're the guy carrying the game. It's not Clan Wars. There's no award for taking hits for your teammates. Plus, why would you take a hit for a guy that's probably just terrible anyway? Odds are the guy's probably terrible, so just, let him take the hits. The 6 TP's...
That Bosch did his job. He did his,
yeah.
1 for 3 and died.
Yep.
It's ideal.
I mean, that is slightly below average, I'd say, for most Bosch players. And, I think most of them are normally 2-shot Andes, not quite 1-shot Andes, but...
Fair.
Then again, it's just part of the game. see, Ash is having a little bit of, and I mean, Ash, feel free to like let us know what you were thinking here. You know, I don't always get to ask you guys until after we record these things, on why you rotated back. Obviously, it was a good rotation, and then what kind of made you think to come back over here. I'm guessing it because you didn't really want to push through into that crossfire we were talking about. But with the Yag being low and the T100 being the only person really crossfiring you, I mean, potentially you could have reagged that corner. Um, but you end up coming over here and finding this leopard who's, you know, trying to play hold down. So that's quite interesting. I really like that peek. I think you should be third person checking, but I like the fact you're using like the element of surprise, right? Like a badger's been perma spotted just staring at your E5 that entire time, and obviously over time, like that's not a positive poke. Like you can't just keep poking this badger because he's eventually like people back there, or you know, yep, he's just gonna stare at you. Right, and you're snapping the shot and he's kind of fully aiming, so that's not a great trade for you. But it's really good as like a one-off to use the fact that, you know, people get like tunnel visioned and permanently staring at a corner to sneak a shot into them when, you know, you normally wouldn't be able to poke that angle. But it's just, you're getting a little greedy with our poking here on the badger. You know, the first one was good, and then I think the second, third, fourth, and fifth one were not so good. But I'd also recommend, you know, using that third-person camera like this to swing around that corner and see which way he's looking, because you've analyzed that, you know, everything is spotted except the arties. This guy is really the only person on a wider angle to the right that could shoot you. Right, because if you poke, you can poke for the badger without like poking into like the cron and stuff. But you weren't taking the time to third person check if the badger was looking, and you can tell by the way this Leo has been playing, like he's not, you know, the brightest pick out of the litter or whatever the saying is, right? So if you see the badger, you know, turn or start looking this way, and like you see the Leo's backed off, you know, then you could have made that poke, and not taken the shot and maybe actually gotten a free one again. But the right idea, just you need to be checking those corners before you do it. So like this is a lot better. Actually, well, I didn't realize you did it right after. It's like, wow, real time predictions. But I really like this now. Like I don't know if you knew the Cron was clipping, but he is, and you know that Leo is lost like Atlantis, and the Cron is just like, free overpokes for you. I mean, this is more standard stuff here. This guy's clipping the field. I think this is definitely the right time to push here. Once again, we're also including the fact that we know that that leopard is not the most intelligent being, and now you're getting shot by an HE Cron clip and the Artie. So once again, you know, great trades for you. And look, man, some people might say these are paid actors, but like Hockey, as you know, like I don't know, I feel like everyone complains about paid actors, but everyone, like, you know, it all evens out, right? We all have those.
Everyone gets them.
Yeah. It's the same as like everyone gets, like, you know, you all have the, as we were talking about the Foch earlier, that's the people that YOLO when they're stupid tanks, and you know the arties that shoot real game. It all evens out. You know, for every like 6 times you get shot by an arty, like 6 games you get shot by an arty, there's always like, you know, one sideways mouse, right, guys? Surely. Maybe more for some than others, you know, depending on what time of day you play. But Ash uses a nice use of HE there to pick up the 261. You know, his alpha's 400 and 261's got 460, so good use of the HE rounds there. And he's already up to like 8k, which is the nice thing about the E5 is it's such high DPM that it didn't really feel like he was having a crazy game, but suddenly, you know, the tank just shoots so often, and with like a pretty solid alpha of 400, it adds up pretty quick. And now he's just, you know, playing with the speed, I guess, or maybe he doesn't know where to pen, but he does find the pen to wrap up his 3-mark game. That's 8,500. That is a lot of damage and a very good replay. Hockey, do you have any overall analysis of how this gameplay went? Any feedback for Ash? I think I liked his rotations. I mean, I know I kind of harped on him for the poking. Do you think there's anything else he could have done a
I
little
think the
better?
main thing was the trades on the badger. If you're gonna take a shot, like you're gonna get shot by him, you gotta make sure to make your shot count in return.
That's very true. And also, especially, I mean, you're training with a tank that is more alpha than you. So you
Mhm.
want to make sure that either he's bouncing, or at minimum you're penning, or ideally giving him two. But obviously that's a little difficult to do against a Badger because he
Yeah, you're
actually
not
has a
doing that
faster
against a
reload
Badger.
than you. But yeah, overall a great game. Even though we had a couple mistakes, still a lot of really positive and like perfectly played things out of this game. And yeah, once again, I really liked, like, and some of you might not be very happy about this, but I really like the way you baited on the corner in D2. Regardless if your teammates are taking the shots or not, I think, when you're playing pubs, the objective is not to keep all your friends alive. It is to kill the enemies yourself as much as you can. Thank you, Ash, for submitting your replay. Congratulations on your 3 mark. And then next up, we will have Zray's replay.
Alright, so in this game, we've got Zray and his IS-7. Hardening Rammer, V-Stab. I like that equipment choice. You really want the V-Stab in pubs because the IS-7 gun is not great. Good use of the directive there. This one's for credits and it's much better than any V-Stab directive for gun stabilization, so that's nice. It's a pretty good matchmaking here. No arty, it's always a bonus. Only 2 triangles. So it's always fun when you don't have 5 people camping on the red line with 1000 alpha.
He's also
Starting
got tier 9s, no lights. Like that's 32,000 HP is a very healthy pool for tier 10 pubs.
Mouse, Q100, looking good. Got no AP, full gold, so sweaty gold spammer, so that's always good. But there's no real reason to have AP in a tank that has AP and APCR, because in like 99.99 situations the APCR is just better. Besides normalization, which is like never really happens.
Especially for
So starting
sniping too.
Yeah.
I hate sniping with AP. It's just always so slow.
We're starting off with a couple blinds here. I mean, these are okay. Like, there's not really much to do in the early game on this map, in this brawl. So blinding there is okay. It's not, there's not really much you're gonna really hit. I mean, there's a Foch, but doesn't look like any connected. But if there were more TVs there, then sure. But I like that we're not trying to sideswipe this because he does have 375 pen and will just pen you. So it's good that we're being cautious with that.
It's a very uncharacteristic patience from a Pines player. It's quite unusual. Most of them have,
going in.
An attention span of 0.3 milliseconds and like a good dosage of ADHD, so they'll just start poking.
We recognized the phase shot, so we tried to get a shot in because it was reloading, but unfortunately, it seems like we've missed.
Also,
And then looking at the map right now in the chat, it seems like we're very angry at our teammates that they've given up the entire west side of the map, and that we are all clustered on the 890 lines.
I mean, who hasn't been a victim of a little
chat?
yeah.
Yes.
We've all had our games, of
been there.
yelling at our teammates. Yep. I think Zray's got that. He's got that like collar brain though. For those of you that don't know, Zray's one of the callers who's fine. So he's got that like collar brain where he's like complaining about the map control in a pub. So it's kind of funny to see him.
Psychotic behavior, but
Yep.
yeah. As we get a nice shot in the E4 there, he somehow bounces us, but you don't ask questions in the E4 with 125 bounces us. Clean him up. Good shot there. Really nice because he's really the only tank. Well, in that position, it's very annoying because he can just peek and do 750 whenever he wants, really. Now that he's gone, it kind of frees us up to play a little wider here.
I'm surprised that in this situation, knowing that Baby Zray has already done some complaining in the chat, that he has shown some good self-restraint there, even though the puppies are playing the corner very, very like stupidly and not giving him any opening to play with them.
Yep, free shot there in the E5, so it was nice. And now I wonder if this Mouse and U100 are trying to play hull down. The Mouse and U100 are not great hull down tanks. So let's see. Oh yeah, they really are trying to bail down. Kind of. They seem very afraid.
Well, to be fair, the E100, his hurts a little angle up there.
Yeah,
I7's got
that's
bad pen, so.
yeah. Even Hunter not as much, but you know, now it's just free damage on an unangled turret. So if he was peeking, but he didn't seem to be peeking, so he rotated over here, and we're looking for an angle between the 10,000 reps and that fence. So that's a good shot, I guess. We might have overmatched the back of his turret there. It didn't really look like he hit the cupola, but you know what, pen, so it's a good shot. Now, unlucky. I mean, you can't really expect any of these to hit the i7 gun. It's really not a fun, enjoyable gun to play.
Yeah, I think a lot of people say, like, you know, aiming in the i7 is like is useless. You might as well just, I don't know, something about like Russian RNG and just like letting it fly or something.
Yeah, just yell Russia.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah,
hit.
yeah, yeah.
It's gonna hit.
Something souk up the and then
Yep.
and then you click.
No need to really aim. And
I mean-
I'm not sure what this is, but hey, we created positive, so we can hope.
That first one was embarrassing. My lord.
A little crazy there. But it's all good.
It's just that caller brain kicking in, you know,
Yep,
it's not his
we're
fault.
trading up. Now the mount. Oh, that's a pen. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure Zray was screaming lots of
Yeah,
lots of
Zray was
friendly
screaming
like
Russia
Russian
there.
folk
There we go.
songs or something in the background while he was playing.
Yep. Okay, the mouse does not know how to angle his armor. So it's
Also-
good.
Also, I just want to point out here the angle at which Zray is giving up to this Moisen.
Yeah, this mouse should like pan this 10 times out of 10. He's got his shoulder. He's got
Yeah.
his like tension deck if he really wants to shoot there.
And I mean, I guess Zray, the idea was to come here before the Esconk died and, you know, ideally have a better angle on the rock.
Yeah,
But
ideally.
But to be fair, looking at the overall situation in this game, he does kind of need to make something happen or they're all going to get flanked and the game's going to end anyway. So by playing more aggressive, he kind of gives himself an opportunity for the game to extend a little bit longer. But, you know, obviously this isn't the greatest angle to be trading on in the world. But then again, sometimes you just get away with it if you aim better and, you know, sometimes you can wiggle and make the shot
And then
difficult.
sometimes you just fight the right people that don't know how to shoot back.
Sometimes the enemy, like, you press tab, you're like, he's from dash LA dash. That guy probably doesn't know how to shoot. So you just let him have the shot anyway.
And yeah, that's a good point. If we're not trying to make anything happen here, we're just gonna get flanked and die with less damage. It's better to try to make something happen, even if we do trade negatively overall.
And I think
'Cause-
we should like put a little disclaimer here that you know, this is in situations where you're forced to because you kind of have
Mhm.
no other option, right? And unfortunately, there's not really any position on the map here where like Zray could, let's say, like, you know, receive the enemy's flanking
Yep.
and kind of farm them coming in because of the fact they're so isolated in the blimp here. I feel like we see a lot of players make mistakes where they feel like they're in a situation where they need to go run it down, and sometimes like that's true, and you have the opportunity to extend the game, but you also kind of got to factor in that risk to reward ratio of, you know, how often am I really going to be able to pressure these guys out and make this happen. I mean, we'll see if Zray's able to make it happen this game, but just a little bit of food for thought for you guys in terms of when it's time to try and make a play or when it's time to kind of write the game off and just try and get as much you can out of it. Sorry.
Good shot there on the mouse. It seems that he hasn't quite figured out where to shoot us in our R7, so that's always a good thing.
I mean, normally, as you know, Hockey, we've been playing a lot of these like kind of tier 10 skirmishes where you're playing with low pen against a mouse. If a mouse angles properly, it is just one of the most unfun things to shoot at with, you know, around 300 pen or like, you know, the 60 TP.
Yeah,
with
even
slow
320 or
pen.
something like that.
Like, unless you've
But-
got 340, it is just not fun.
Yeah, but this guy clearly did not know how to angle his mouse.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really an issue in this situation. Now we're looking to pick up kills in this fight because they do have a lot of low HP tanks. But even if they're on a one shot, their guns can still shoot. So it's always good to try to pick up kills in game 10, and we see that this Type 70, Type 68 has isolated himself here. It's a pretty shit tier 9 tank, so we're just gonna go YOLO him and kill him. Because, yeah, we're in a 9-7.
Yeah, I really like that between shots there, Zray was kind of zooming out and seeing what kind of threats around him, you know, what one shots, what players are isolated, you know, where the enemy tank's YOLOing to try and isolate his fights here. So that's a really good job for him to avoid fighting all of them at the same time there and actually be able to pick up 2 guns with the Panzer 7 and the Type.
And now we're kind of looking for a fight here because ideally we fight these tanks one-on-one or one-on-two. We don't wait for all 4 of them to be grouped up before we, start to initiate a fight. And we get a pretty nice fire there on the E100. We burns for 1,000. Clearly did not have a firefighting crew, so it's not great for him, but pretty good for us. And this Foch didn't know how to turn, so we're just gonna go around him. And get a nice shot there. We aim for the track. We don't quite get it. He might have hardening. I can't. He must have hardening if he didn't get tracked with that shot. And here we're gonna look for a tank that has a turret because we're clearly outplaying this Foch. So we can really just keep driving around him.
An important thing to note here as well is, like, we know the Foch has 4 rounds. So Zray just got a lot of information there with the 5120 clipping it with the small gun as well. So it's really a good decision to pick up the pad in there.
We do need to make something happen though here because that guy, I believe, is reloading. So we need to go make a kill. One of these tanks. That's unfortunate. So a couple things that, I mean, I would have liked to see you use the wreck in that Foch fight. Instead of just driving past the wreck, you can use the wreck to stay safe from the Foch for a little bit while you take a shot at the 5100, the 5120. I don't know if that changes anything. I think the Foch only got 1 shot in on that whole sequence. That's a small thing, but maybe it changes the game. Probably changes the outcome here. But it was really good target, like who to shoot at in this fight. You were clearly circling the Foch. Like doesn't know how to turn his tank. So if we just keep going around him, it'll work out, right?
Yeah,
So we picked up the pattern.
I think it was like, and these 1v3 or 1v4 situations are, you know, they're not easy. Otherwise, everyone would have a ton of Call of Banovs medals. I don't think he was in contention to get one this game.
No, I don't think so.
But
it was close.
I think when you're getting overloaded with that much information there, one thing that Zray I don't think really thought about, or I'm not sure if he did, but when he was getting clipped by the 5120, we know the 5120 is shooting AP for one, and he's using like the 5100 gun. So that guy's got like terrible pen. So he's basically using like a tier 8 gun and shooting standard at an IS-7.
Yeah.
So unless Zray like gives up his ass or his side, like even his side is gonna be pain for the 5120. Like he's got to hit it correctly at the right angle. So I think actually in that situation, you know, most of the time you're thinking, okay, the Foch is gonna clip me out regardless, but the 5120 is coming in with another 4 shells of 400 alpha and high pen. But in this situation, he actually was not. So I think when he realized he could stay safe or just give up like kind of crappy shots to the 5120, since the 5120 was shooting, you know, standard and he was using the small gun, instead of doing that kind of circle around in the end and trying to catch 5120, if he just focused the Foch out and then was in a 1v1 with the 5120, he's probably in a really good spot. But once again, it's like a ton of information you're receiving at the same time. You know, this information he's receiving as he's circling the Foch, killing the Padden, and like trying to count how many shells everyone's fired. So it's definitely a difficult thing to do, but in retrospect, that's probably, like, I would say if he had managed to pick up the Foch, like, I think you win that 1v1 against 5120. That's using the baby gun and shooting AP probably like 95 times out of 100, especially if you're both on one shots.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of things going on in this fight. It's hard to process it all and kind of figure out what's important and what's not important in a engagement like this.
But yeah, I think another thing to point out that was really good. I think like before Zray had was in the 1v, like after he killed the Type 58 and kind of extended the game, he was on what, like 5,000, 5,600 maybe, like 5.5K. So
Mm-hmm.
by him like making that aggressive play there, it, even though he got lucky with the fire on the E100, like it still enabled him to get out so much more damage. And regardless if he got the fire or not, he still would have been able to get another like extra 3, 4 shots out. So really good decision making there. A little unlucky at the end. It's really hard to kind of optimize against multiple all-outers and medium tanks killing you all at the same time, but a very good effort nonetheless. Really close to clutching up the 1v4 there.
Okay, so we'll move on to our final replay of the video, which I believe is Barrett 10's replay.
So the last replay is going to be from me today in the TS54. This is a tank that I recently picked up with the free trial from Watt Plus. I will leave a link for you guys to sign up for it as well. You can sign up for a free month if you have not already purchased Watt Plus, and then cancel the subscription afterwards, so you just get it for a free month.
It's entirely free.
Yes, you do have to add a payment
100%.
method, but obviously you're not going to be charged, or we would not tell you it's free. It's all through the Wargaming official website, so you know that it is legitimate, but we'll leave the link for you guys. And I did make an announcement about it a few weeks ago. But the TS54 is the tank that you get when you have Watt Plus activated. This tank is a double shot tank. It is a lot of fun. It's got a bit of smaller alpha, 280 alpha, and a pretty hilarious turret. But its hull's not that great. But overall, I've been finding this tank super fun, especially with the 2-second charge up time for the double shot. But this tank just has so many positives for it, like between the DPM, turret, alpha.
And for those of you that like the Carnarvon, the Tier 8 British heavy tank, this is about as close as you're gonna get.
Except you got two guns.
In terms of a premium tank, this is as close as you're gonna get. Like the Carnarvon Action X is just garbage. Would not recommend, even though that's closer in name. This is closer in play style.
And I think
you get the really nice DPM.
I mean, I haven't played the Karn
alpha
myself, but I know you've played both. I think the TS54 is faster though. No?
Yeah, it's faster. But you do have less overall hit points. I believe
Right.
maybe it's the same, but you do have less DPM. And sometimes the double shot is kind of a negative. Because you do lose some DPM if you fire the first shot and then you don't let the second shot fully load and then you fire the second shot. So sometimes there's a little bit of trade-offs.
Although to be fair, I feel like with the super fast reload, there's not too many scenarios where I'm finding myself in the TS54 where I feel like I'm ruining my DPM, especially with the round to round reload being 5 seconds and the overall reload being 6.7. You rarely find yourself in the situation where you can't wait that extra 1.7 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're in a situation like that, then you probably should have just double shot.
Yeah, that is true. All right, so we're gonna get into this game now. I think that's a very accurate gist of this tank. Seriously, I would take Watt Plus for a month, take it for free, and just try this tank at the minimum, regardless of all the other benefits you get, like third map ban or whatever. All those things are great, but this tank is seriously a lot of fun, especially for those of you that haven't already tried it. But we're on Glacier here. Pretty standard tier 8 matchup. Just one Artie, which is quite unusual. Normally it's two. Quite a few tier 8 TDs. Not the craziest amount of tier 8 TDs I've seen. 5 on my team, 4 on the other team. And then double light tank, which is also pretty standard. Nothing too special though that I really noticed out of the gate with the comps on both teams. And I find with the TS54, a lot of the times I'm playing it more like an aggressive medium at the start. And then kind of going into that heavy tank role a little bit later on. I mean, the reason for this is I find the hull armor is really bad. You can't really side scrape in this tank effectively. So I find that this tank just really struggles when you're trying to just hold angles on like corners or like side scrape. Like that kind of engagement is not great for this tank. So instead of going to like C2, for example, and just staring at the cross, I decided to come here and try and catch someone out. We get a nice double on the AMX there. For any of you that haven't played the double barrel tanks, that mechanic there where you see me kind of recharging the double over and over again, it's just so I make sure that it's partially charged by the time that guy crosses. Because otherwise, if you're trying to react to the information, then he may cross within that 2 seconds. So even if you're playing like the SC2 or the Russian double barrel tanks, it's something you can do in those situations to make sure you get the double off. Because obviously, I would rather do 2 shots on this cross than 1, since I don't really have much else to shoot at. It's a pretty cool, neat thing. that's really fun about the double barrels. And I also recommend you rebind the double barrel key to something else, whether it's on your keyboard or on your mouse, because I think default it comes as you hold left mouse. Correct? Is that right?
I mean, that's how I have it. I don't have it like that. I don't play last double barrel. So I don't know if it's just a or not.
Another reason why Hockeyoli is just, you know, not a professional SC2 enjoyer. Like the rest of
Never
us,
played that tank.
you know, you're missing out
Although
so much.
it got buffed, so I'm looking
Yeah,
forward
maybe.
to trying it out. You know, in the near future. We get a nice double shot into that guy. We get the tracking. It's really good that we track him there because he's able to go up the hill, even as a one shot, and that's really bad for us. Because if he's smart, he can just kill our entire team in the middle, and depending on where we play on the A and B line, he could kill us or shoot us there.
Yeah, I mean, and
if you
I was
found an
only
angle.
able to do that since the TS-54 has that super short, like double shot charge time. If you're in like 7032, there's no way you're getting to it there, which is a super nice thing about this tank because you will see a few times throughout this game having that short double charge time allows you to really feel a lot more comfortable with it. Kind of completely fluff a shot there. Trying to just catch a shot as that guy rolled around the corner. But yeah, I'm coming back to the north because I saw that they have more heavies, and I kind of want to catch them when they push through here. And you know, I'm not gonna say it was fortunate that my teammate died, but you know, when I'm in a tank that sucks at side scraping, I would way rather play off a hold down dead wreck. That's all I'm saying. You know, it's not the. You know, I'm totally not that sad that this guy decided to add a new, you know, position on the map for me. You know, may you rest in peace, soldier.
The stock tiger too.
Yeah,
Poor guy.
he's on the grind. But you know, I'm probably helping him out because by making
He
us win,
contributed to the victory.
right? But if I like keep him alive and we lose, right? He's probably getting less XP than him dying for me and then us winning. So,
That's a good point. When you're helping him out by.
you know, there's always a silver lining.
Yep.
Hey, I didn't like push him out or anything. Okay, so let's not go
yeah.
down there. Okay.
No chance.
But you can see you're just pretty basic shooting, just playing off the wreck. You know, shooting for weak points. You know, cupolas, lower plates. Pretty standard, and these guys keep pushing up. In case it's not already obvious, pushing up here in your heavy tanks after you've killed like the north flank is always just terrible. Because not only am I shooting this guy off a hold down, my ship pack and my T's, if they were playing more wide on G1, could also be just like perma farming these people.
The Hardy has great shots too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the Artie is also just
Just farming away.
completely able to nuke you. Although yeah, you can see we kind of, with you know, obviously with some help from our team here, you know, whether that means they died or they shot their guns, created a bit of a graveyard here. Lots of dead red tanks. And you guys might be wondering what I'm doing here. So obviously I'm stuck in a bit of a crossfire with the AMBT on my left, and I'm doing that thing where like I like half charge double shot again. The reason for that is the AMBT is on 330, so that's a 2-shot. So I want to see if by going unspotted and making it look like I'm pushing the VK, I can maybe bait the AMBT to poke, and then that way I can continue pressuring the VK without having the AMBT clip me in the side. Just a little cheeky thing where I felt like I didn't really need to push right now. There's nothing really like it's not like, oh, I've got like free damage in front of me, I can YOLO right now. I wanted to make sure that I'm not eating an AMBT clip to try and be a little more aggressive and farm the VK. But nothing too crazy, but just kind of noticing this situation that I could slow it down just a little bit. I don't quite need to YOLO just yet. That being said, my Progetto completely disagrees with me, so he's going. He's a goer, which is great.
No
Yeah, he's a man. He plays his tank like a man, and honestly, I appreciate it because he got rid of that guy so that I could come and
bounce off this tank.
come and attempt to farm the VK. Unfortunately, you know, his sacrifice, apparently my Progetto's sacrifice, you know, was just for me to suck. So quite unlucky there. Get a better shot there though. What's the Hockeyoli evaluation on that shot? Was that better?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It
wasn't
carried
bad.
Carried by RNG though.
Carried by RNG. You know, that's my
pushing,
middle name. Carried by RNG.
We're pushing the VK here. The VK is very distracted by our Progetto friend, who is once again a true tanker. We get a nice double into him, and our Progetto friend cleans him up.
See, but look, that's that golden teamwork.
He sacrificed. Oh, and now
got a little
Guy has
frustrated
had-
with my teammate
yeah.
trying to turn around there, and we were,
Hey, the 3-point turn is difficult to execute.
you know, believe it or not, tanks don't need to 3-point turn. That's why they're tanks, hockey goalie.
That may potentially. Oh, and then that guy gets got nuked, which allows us to be a little more aggressive here. If he's full HP, we can be a little. We might be a little more afraid. The tank has a ton of DPM, but now that he's like a one shot, we're chilling. Go kill him.
You know, everyone always complains about that damn Artie until he's carrying your team. So you know,
Mhm.
07 GW Tiger P.
He's even taking shots back in the base
Yeah,
for you.
he's taken some damage from me. Like, attaboy. Like, I could have, who knows? I could have been like an Artie shot aimed at me, but instead he took it like a champ.
True champion. I think that might be the theme here. The teammates just taking all the shots.
Right.
Tiger 2, Jetto.
You know. Didn't we just talk about how we're supposed to make all our teammates take the shots?
Oh yeah, I guess it's a plus. We got a little unlucky there on the Scorpion shot, but
It's a snap. It's not a guaranteed
Yeah.
shot. I'm not happy about that shot. You know.
now we're looking to try to clean up. Oh my goodness, it looks like we hit there.
Well, I gotta be honest. Like so I kind of looked over there and noticed that not a lot of the trees are down, and with the new hit markers, it is so easy to like blind out artilleries because you can see exactly where they're shooting from. And the other thing that's nice about him playing there is like if I know I hit him, like or let's say I think I'm hitting him, like I don't see my shells exploding. He probably like it's very likely that he knocks over trees as he's running as well because he's like stuck in that tree line. So like I'm not too concerned about missing because I'll like know if I'm missing, if that makes sense, right? And then obviously if I can get rid of the artillery, then that's a huge advantage for me.
Yeah, but he traded himself out pretty well at the end, you know.
He
with a
did.
300
He
shot.
get his last hoorah.
Yeah. And it looks like we were preloading double shot there. Try to catch the Scorpion
That was
off guard.
nasty.
Did you get, you know, a pretty nice double in there? Kind of a snap, but you know, it hit. So.
Oh man.
Anyways, moving on. Now we're gonna try to go find this Scorpion G who's killing our teammates. It's a real shame that our teammates are not informing us of where the Scorpion G is. It looks like, but it looks like we're just gonna go try to find him, chase him down.
I mean, I felt like at the time with the angles of where this PK was driving in the open in the AMBT, that it was very, like, obviously the Scorpion was up here along this like K7 area, but it was a little iffy. I was thinking there could be a chance that he tries to YOLO from my RD and like, you know, push along in the west. And unfortunately, the TS-54 is not slow, but it's not the quickest tank in the world either. So kind of playing a bit of a guessing game here on which way to chase this guy down. But the other thing is also my teammate gets on the cap. So it's kind of like 50-50. Like, does this guy go like just try and like get the arty and like just end the game, or is he gonna go back to cap? And I end up just thinking, looking at how long it's been, I feel like he would have already killed the, like been or at least spotted by the arty by now if he had gone towards my cap.
And he's a triangle. Triangles aren't known for their aggressive nature. More like they try to go find a bush.
I don't know.
Around the base.
I've seen some Bosch 155s in my day
Well,
that have been extremely aggressive.
I'm talking about great triangles that are, you know, paper tanks.
Right,
So like
right.
yeah, like sometimes at tier 10 level you'll see like triangles be more aggressive than they normally would be.
Yeah, they for some reason Bosch 155s just love 279's achievements. Like for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, they could live off
I mean,
reward tanks for the rest of
you
their
know,
lives.
the reward tanks are very overpowered, or they were until very recently. Good job, Wargaming. But yeah, the Bosch 155 really, you know, balances those tanks who are removing a good chunk of their HP. Anyways, back to the game. Scorpion has taken out our Valiant EPE prototype who was attempting to capture the base.
Jiggity Kitty was trying to cap it down, but unfortunately,
we were not there to provide covering fire. So now we have to rotate on this long, treacherous journey along the ice road here.
no, just making sure you know the driver gets a good workout. You know, all like the loader's been working hard this game, so I want to make sure the driver is also still awake, still sharp back there.
Yeah, hasn't bought the farm yet.
That's the loader who buys the farm hockey goalie.
Well,
the driver.
what's the driver do?
I don't know, the driver rents up the cottage or something. Like I don't know.
Roger that. And now, what we could do is we could just shoot this guy and ram him, but we decide to just ram him and then double him. You know, losing a couple thousand credits there.
Yeah, we gotta come
unfortunately.
on. We gotta celebrate. You know, it's
But
like
yeah, for the culture here, the double shot culture, we gotta clean him up with the double shot. So
so. How would you rate my performance here, Hockey Line, on a scale of 1 to 10?
well, I don't believe in rating games on a scale of 1 to
Okay,
10.
okay. So a scale of
On a scale of 1 to 9, though, I would say it's more like a 7.
okay. I
There
like
was
that.
some
Room for
there was
improvement.
yeah, there's always room for improvement
I
there.
agree. I agree.
I
I
think
actually do agree.
your
There's always room
bait
for improvement.
your bait in C1, when you're baiting there, you, you can bait that you're going at the VK and like drive forward at him, get unspotted. But once you know you're unspotted, there's no reason to really not be aiming at anything, because you're kind of just aiming off in nowhere, and you were safe from the VK. So the only really spot to aim is at the MBT.
That is true. Yeah,
Um,
because I would have been unspotted looking at the BK anyway. So,
yep,
but yeah,
and
there's
you're
always
completely safe if he
yeah,
peeks.
yeah, that's true. And I had the wreck if the BK pokes in front of me. So
Yeah, but you had some good double shots there. The Scorpion one, although it was a little, a little lucky. It was good that
come on,
we
that was
we
disgusting.
preloaded it.
That was
Yeah,
nasty.
I'm not gonna say that, but it was
Okay,
good.
well here's another interesting thing about double shot tanks that for those of you
Mhm.
that don't know, I've been told, and I don't know if this is true. You guys can let me know. If you, I don't know if you know this either, but when you double shot, technically you're more accurate.
Hmm. I,
This is
I
something people who've played a lot of double barrel tanks have told me. Because instead of like, if you think about the reticles as like a Venn diagram or like being left and right of each other, when you double shot, you actually just have one reticle, if that makes sense. So rather like if you shot twice, like
yeah, I could see where that logic comes from.
I've been
I don't know
told,
if it's
I don't know if
I
it's
don't know if
true.
it's true or
I
not,
don't know if it's true, but
but I don't know if it really makes sense. Like you only see the one reticle, right? But
I don't know if it's true. But I've
maybe.
been told double shots are more accurate than well, I don't know if it's
But
I can't
if
remember
you're
if it
gonna
was like
take
a
a risky
yeah.
shot, you're probably better off just shooting the one shell instead of two, because if you miss, then you
Well, in
know.
that situation, to be fair, I didn't need ammo in my gun for
True,
anything
true,
else.
true. Yeah, but if you're gonna, yeah, okay. Anyways,
But anyways, we'll stop blogging. But this is just, I guess this goes to show, regardless of whether or not you have a good game or not, there's always, little things to reflect back on, and review. Obviously, there's great things. Like I was very happy to blind out the Artie, but as Hockey pointed out, even little things and those small decision makings or how we're doing things that we can always improve. There's no such. I don't think there is such thing as a perfect game, right? It's all about just doing your best and outplaying your opponents the best you can, whichever way that pans out during the game, whatever, different cool little gimmicks or ways you're abusing your tank to outplay your opponents is always awesome. But that will sum up our replay of the week. Thank you to everyone who submitted replays. A reminder that WA Plus is free for a month as well. And congratulations to Zray and Ash, who also had some great replays this week. Is there anything else we need to tell the people, Mr. Goalie?
so next week will be Tank of the Week.
Yep.
It's a pretty close race between the Badger and the Foch B. So, if you want your voice to be heard, make sure to go out and
Go out
react
and vote.
yep,
Go out
react
and
with the
vote,
tank
people.
of your choice. And also we had a small number of replays submitted this week. So make sure there's no penalty for submitting a replay and it not being featured. Even if you think there's no chance it'll be featured, you might as well submit it. Because submitting it does enter you, and you get one ticket into the random draw for a free hour of coaching, which we include the winner of that in the announcement
Oh, right. We
of
will
this
do that
video.
right after this. Yes.
And so there's no penalty to vote, or no penalty to,
Okay.
to submit a
That being
replay.
said, if I see you submit a replay of you just like doing 0 damage and driving out and just dying, I'm not counting your replay, man. Like
Yeah,
you gotta like it's gotta be like a minimal level of effort in there, okay? And obviously we're not gonna
of course.
be super strict with how we determine what is quote unquote a minimum level of effort. But just I like we see the post game results immediately on what replays. If I open it and I see 200
Hardy
spotting,
game. We
15
see
tanks
Hardy
spotted,
game.
dead. Like, or yeah, if I see like T92, 3,000 damage. Like I don't know, man. I don't know if I my heart or soul could review an artillery game, but you know maybe one of you guys have a fucking crazy arty game, and then we'll have to review
Yeah,
it.
if you get a call a band off to an already,
Automatically, you're featured.
automatically
Yeah.
we're featuring that.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. Remember to give us any feedback in the Discord or during or on the comments of the YouTube video or you know through DMs, whatever means you would like. And we'll see you next week. And I'm sure it'll be Hockey Goalie triangling away in his favorite triangles, the Foch B
Unless
and the
the
Badger.
Object 140 wins.
Oh, then
Please
it will
don't vote
be
for
it
that
would
tank.
be me playing the
Do not
140.
vote for that tank.
The 140's crazy tank. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.